Hello, Titan filmmakers. I'm your host, Mr. Granlund. I hope you're all having a fantastic Titan day. So let's take a look at Video Production 2. Since you've had me before, if you've had me recently, you kind of know how things are laid out in my classes. I try to go from top to bottom. Up at the top, we have our schedule. We have our Zoom link for the meetings, and also for the like when we come back at 12:10 into the class, we'll have this Zoom link open also. You can find information about the course information here. One of the questions that I get asked a lot is, what am I going to need for this class? So, a little complicated question, but what I would, just like in Video Production 1, you're going to want to have some sort of app, some sort of filmmaking app on your device. Now, if you have an iPhone, I recommend iMovie or any of these below. If you have an Android, all of these are pretty good. InShot and KineMaster are kind of my favorites for that. PowerDirector is really good too. And if you have a PC or Chromebook, it kind of depends on what kind of PC you have. But if you have a PC, I would recommend HitFilm Express. This is a free version. You just got to sign up, put in your email address. If you have Movie Maker or iMovie on a Macintosh, those are great too. OpenShot can be pretty good as well, although I'm not very familiar with this. If you have a Chromebook, the video editor on Chrome and Movie Maker Studio for Chrome seem to work out pretty good. And you can use YouTube Studio, so if you have a YouTube account, you can edit movies through the YouTube Studio, but you must already have your own channel. And you can get a channel very easily. I'm going to head back to the main course page here. So, Video Production 2, I had this crazy idea, and I want you to join with me in this crazy idea, and that is, I want to make a documentary with all of you. This is the EDU Film Fest. It's the most notable film fest for high school students in this state. It's been going for about 20 years. There's some amazing stuff, and students that get selected for this festival will get shown at the Showplace 16 in St. Louis Park in May. But they're also going to do it virtually, where they kind of do a live stream event of everything that's been selected for the film festival. So here's my idea. I would like us to make a documentary. Now, you might be saying, I've never made a documentary before, Mr. Granlund. Well, that's where YouTube can kind of come in. So, 7 fundamental steps for a short documentary film. This is kind of a good overview. I recommend that you watch that. And then this is a short documentary on bullying, and what you'll see is a number of different shots. Okay, you have interview footage, which is sometimes called A-roll. You have B-roll footage, which is footage that's kind of describing your event, but not necessarily directly related to the interviews. And then you have voiceovers. So I want everyone to try to help out with this. Now, for the voiceovers, we don't have a script yet, and we will write this collaboratively and record our own voiceovers about the different things that we need to kind of explain in our documentary film. We're going to do a documentary film about pandemic education. Okay? And so in the interview footage, I'd give you some helpful tips about how to get good footage. Okay? When you're lining up the person that you're interviewing, whether this is a camera or a phone or whatever, you want to divide it into 9 equal boxes and put their head on the top left or top right. And then whichever side their head is on, you have them looking across, so to the opposite edge of the screen. And then for your background, you want to have them in a nicely lit spot. Usually the best places for this is by a window. Not so that the window's behind them, like in this shot actually, that's not very good. But you want them like next to the window so the light from the window is hitting their face. That would be a great way to set up a really nice looking interview. And what you're going to do is you're going to interview people with questions about their experiences in pandemic education. All of you are experts in pandemic education because you've been living it for the past year plus. And now we're moving into hybrid. And so I want to hear those perspectives, your perspectives, if you can get your parents' perspectives, if there's teachers that you're, maybe other teachers that you have that are willing to be interviewed, I think that would be awesome as well. Brothers and sisters, random people on the street, although be careful with that because not everyone wants to be interviewed on the spot. But what we're going to do is ask about 10 questions about people's experiences with pandemic education. What's it been like? We'll create a list of questions that we can ask in class. The second thing, so that's the A roll. The B roll is all about kind of other things that happen inside of, pandemic education. So this is to help give people some context to what it's like. So maybe it might be a news show about COVID-19. Might be the governor talking about schools. Might be people reading newspapers or looking at devices, kind of watching the news. And so these are just ideas. And what I would like you to do is turn in about 5 B-roll shots. So these shots aren't real long. They're like maybe 10 seconds that we can kind of have in between the different interviews, right? And this is just a partial list. I'm hoping that we get a lot more than this, okay? Well, we just kind of want people to understand when they're watching your movie, what's our daily life like in this whole thing. Lastly, we're going to have voiceovers. Now, this might take a little while to do because we want to develop a script together where we each take a shot of reading the script and producing a voiceover. And then as a class, we'll pick our top, 3-4 voiceovers, and those will become part of the documentary. And so in everything, if you have ideas for questions for the interview footage and ideas for scripts for the voiceover, I would say work together as a class to kind of come up with those ideas that you think would be really good for interview questions and scripts for voiceovers to help give people an understanding of like what you're doing and things like that. Now, all the interview footage, the B-roll footage, and the voiceovers, and some music that I'll be pulling together. My plan is that I'll edit all of that together. Now, that's not what I'd like to do. Ultimately, I'd like 1 or 2 of you in class to edit this together. But I understand that kind of like that would be really hard to do, and not everyone has access to a good video editing system that could handle all that. This will be something we have to kind of like figure out as we go. But this is our general overview, and we're going to be working on this for the first 3 weeks because we have to submit for this competition April 1st. No fooling. So we're going to do a mad dash, put some awesome stuff together, and try and get it submitted to the competition, and I guess just become famous after that. All right. Thank you for your time, filmmakers. I hope you're all having a great Titan day.